I'm Chrissy Brooks, and it is our pleasure to share with you a little bit about the leadership cohort. As we heard from Noelle this morning, leadership development opportunities are one of the strategic directions for us as an association. And I want to share with you about something we started, it's 4 years ago now, really around the vision of the board and the strong leadership of John Liotti, who have put in now our fourth cohort. So we have 4 groups of leaders from around the nation who have come together to learn from one another and to also learn from our founders and veterans of CCDA. And really the purpose of the cohort is to find the practitioners of the 8 key components and be together in ways that passes on the relational DNA of CCDA. One of the things that the board realized was that as founders, they had this great friendship that was an authentic friendship where they visited each other in their cities and they cared for one another. And as we've grown as an association, we've been asking, how do we continue to foster that kind of authentic friendship, that iron sharpening iron? And so the purpose of the cohort is to create space for those kind of relationships and also to learn from veteran CCDA practitioners. So kind of the practical way that happens is it's a 2-year program, 4 retreats over 2 years, plus we come together at the conference with all of you. And we go to different cities at those 4 retreats and see different neighborhoods and models of how the 8 key components are working out in different contexts. So I want to introduce you to my friends, Allison and Jarvain. Allison's from Minnesota, our host city, state, and Jarvain's from New Orleans, who's going to host us next year. So share with us a little bit about the cohort.
Thanks, Chrissy. So what struck me tonight is that Cohort 4 just came from a relational check-in meeting, and what Chrissy was talking to us about with the relational DNA and the time and the investment and energy that the founders of CCDA have spent just being with one another and praying with one another. And we had the privilege to see that model and model that together tonight. And I wanted to mention something that my friend Tony said about the first experience. So we're newbies. We've had our first retreat. And the way that Tony described it is saying, when I went to our first cohort retreat, it was like showing up at a family reunion and meeting my favorite cousins for the very first time. So I think that says a lot about the relationships that are yet to be formed, but the way that God has knit groups of leaders together to be together. And so we know that it's a big commitment to be part of the leadership cohort. And we know that a lot of us are short on time and short on resources. And what I want to share with you tonight is that our hope and prayer is that you would seek this opportunity if it's right for you, and if God's calling you to that, and that time and resources would not stand in the way of you making that application and applying to the program. So.
Where you at, Cohort 3? That's my cohort, and I just want to say one of the other things is we feel like it's not for us. This is not for me, and I just want to let you know that's the way I felt when I started, because when I walked in, there was a Nigerian pastor, and there were seminary students, and there was now an elected official who's kind of a big deal. We decided he's kind of a big deal, but there was me, an executive assistant, and I was like, I do not belong here. But then as I began to share my life with these guys and we began to share our stories, and they let me know, you do belong here. You are one of us because you are a practitioner of CCD, and so you belong here. And so we began to share our lives together because we look at the founders sharing their lives together and telling the story of CCDA. And so that's what we want to do in the future. We want to go on and tell the story of CCDA, and the only way we can do that is be relational, like these guys have been relational. So as you look up here at Dr. Perkins and Coach and Noelle sharing their relationships and their lives and their stories about CCDA, and you're like, wow, that's cool. Well, that's what we plan to do in the future. we plan to stand here like they've stood here and share our relationships and share our experiences about CCDA and about how we're bringing the glory of God in our communities. And so that's what the whole purpose is. But we need you to decide, I want to do this as well. I want to share my story. I want to share the story of CCDA. I have a 10-year-old son. I want to sit down there one day watching him share the story of CCDA, and I want to watch that. So we need a Cohort 5. We've got 1, 2, 3, and 4, but now we need Cohort 5. And when we go to my city, New Orleans, I want to see some people stand up and say, I'm a part of Cohort 5. So Hitch, I'm looking for you. Jason Thomas, I'm looking for you to be a part of Cohort 5. If you think you might want to do this, then I want to see you standing up in my city saying, I'm a part of Cohort 5. So thank you so much, and we just love being a part of our cohort.